This is the P51 Mustang watch from watchmaker AVI-8. AVI-8 is a watch brand from the United Kingdom, which I became aware of only a couple of months ago after several videos posted on YouTube reviewing this new model. AVI-8, which I think is a play on the word aviate, creates watch models honoring military airplanes. This model honors the P51 Mustang, most notably used during World War II and tagged as the Boddisham edition. It's a photograph named the Boddisham 4, which shows 4 P51s flying in formation in July of 1944. Let's discuss what drew me to this watch and how I feel about it after a week on the wrist. When you first look at the P51, the thing you notice is the dial, a sandwich dial, clearly designed to look like a cockpit instrument using the familiar black design with stark white printing. Adding a bit more interest is the stencil for the 3, 6, 9, and 0 indicators, and the use of a 0 instead of the 12 at the top enhances the resemblance to a cockpit instrument. The hour markers are used to indicate 5-minute intervals, except where the date window sits and where this red plate references the vibration speed of the movement. This red color theme is extended to both the date window and the long second hand. Both the minute and hour hands are sword-shaped, with the hour hand being short and fat. Extending the instrument feel of this dial, we have what appears to be a plate bolted to the bottom left quadrant of the dial. In fact, I think this is part of the minute track top layer of the sandwich dial. And there are 7 screws completing the look. All in all, a very interesting dial design. A brush bezel with just a bit of polishing on the bezel edge complements the highly polished and somewhat rolled case side. On the other side, we get a crown that is relatively large in diameter, with a crown guard that fully covers it and is designed to mimic the engine exhaust pipes on the P51. I can't tell if the crown guard is actually bolted onto the case or an integral part of the case. Either way, there are 4 additional screws adding to the machine aesthetic of the watch. The watch comes in at 43 millimeters as measured by the diameter of the bezel, but you can see that the crown guard adds an additional 3.5 millimeters, resulting in an overall maximum width of 46.5 millimeters. Thickness is 13 millimeters, lug width is 22, and the lug-to-lug measurement is 51 millimeters. This watch comes in with this leather strap at just 87 grams and is powered by the Seiko NH35 movement, which oscillates at a reasonable 21,600 beats per hour. There's what I believe is superluminova used on the dial and the hands, as you can see in this shot. The movement has both manual wind and hacking, and a power reserve of about 41 hours. The watch, without a screw-down crown, still comes with a reasonable 50-meter water resistance, and includes a sapphire crystal on the front with AR coating, as well as a sapphire crystal display back. And of course, the case is 316L stainless steel. As I said, the watch has a displayed case back, giving one a view of the uninteresting Seiko NH35 movement, enhanced just a bit by the AVI-8 branded rotor, and the usual specifications around the metal ring on the back. Mine is number 246 out of the 1490 limited edition run. The watch comes on this tan leather strap with 5 ribs on each side, which in my view is paired very well with the watch. In fact, let's take a look at the box and what comes inside. The box with the AVI-8 star on the top Almost looks like a foot locker. Inside, the watch was mounted on this cushion. And you can see that you get this extra, almost NATO-looking wide strap, using Velcro in several places. Also is this metal plaque, which on the back gives information about the P51 Mustang. And hidden here up on the top is some information about AVI-8 and their other models, as well as an AVI-8 branded microfiber cloth. So a relatively nice display case. So after a week on my wrist, what are my thoughts? All in all, I like the watch and what it offers for the price. I've been getting a very consistent plus 11 seconds a day out of the movement, which is well within the stated accuracy of the Seiko NH35 movement. So I can't complain about that. I think the dial design is very interesting also. Not pretending to replicate the traditional Flieger look, rather paying tribute to one of the great artifacts of World War II. The leather strap is very comfortable straight out of the box and pairs nicely with the watch. The biggest complaint I've heard from others is a dislike for the crown guard. But for me, this isn't an issue. Yes, it makes operating the crown a little harder, but how often does one need to work the crown? Once I set the watch and gave it its initial winding, I didn't have to touch the crown all the week that it was on my wrist. And I think the crown guard provides cushioning against the wrist so that crown doesn't dig into the skin. The only downside I have with the watch is the red second hand. Red against the black dial makes seeing the second hand fairly difficult, but that's minor to me. So there you have it. For now, I take this AVI-8 P51 Mustang for what I think it is. A relatively low-priced watch which pays tribute to one of the great aircraft of World War II. A watch with an interesting design and several features that draws one's attention. The question is, how will I feel about this down the road? Will I still enjoy wearing it from time to time? Or will it lose its appeal like a few other watches I've had in my collection? Only time will tell. Tell me what you think about this watch in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that thumbs up button so I know you're enjoying this content. Stay tuned for my next video and my next acquisition.